All right. Good morning, everybody. Once again, it is John. I am back to talk to you about 10 of the trending articles in the crypto news space. Got a nice one for you today, but first off, thanks to all those you who have listened over these past couple of months. I've had a really fun time doing this, and I'm going to continue. Obviously, I'm not leaving, but just thank you for all your support. If you've subscribed, thank you very, very much. As always, a link to the articles or the links to the articles themselves will be down in the description, depending on where you're finding this content, that you can follow so you can do your own research and learn more about things. I do touch on all these articles in brief, but I do kind of summarize them and give my perspective on things. So definitely check them out for yourselves. That way you can do a little bit of learning. But let's hop on into article number one. We got to talk about Chainlink. I don't know if you guys are aware about this, but Chainlink has been doing phenomenal this year, but it just had a 16% sell-off, which kind of sucks. So Chainlink has been the best performing token of the year. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but the best performing in the top 10, maybe? Its meteoric rise finally came to a halt over the weekend, and the token has dropped about 16% in the last day, but despite this, Link is still up 20% over the past week, and it's still up 4 times what it was from the beginning of the year or March. I can't remember when it was last $4. The token has experienced a strong surge during 2020. It went from $1.8 in January of 2020 to $19.99 on August the 16th. But as always, what goes up must come down, though not back to where it was. The $20 coin mark proved to be a powerful barrier, even for everyone's much beloved Link Marines. Despite Barstool Sports president Dave Portnoy, what a weird dude, doing his best to shill the crypto and pump up his latest investment. Honestly, the drop just looks like a giant sell-off. If you've been holding since January and you're getting close to $20, I can see why you'd cash out. Maybe not your whole stack, but cash out, take some profits. There's nothing wrong with that. But the token did fall almost 20% on Coinbase in just 1 minute. It looks like a gigantic sale triggered by Link when it touched the $18.50 mark. Yeah, they're selling off. They're capturing, their profits. But even a steep price drop like this can be healthy for the markets. Corrections do help balance the equation, and this could just be the case for Chainlink. Link did hold at $14.75, and it's back up in the 16s, so it's nothing too crazy. I wouldn't be getting too worried if you hold any Chainlink. It's been an amazing run for them this year. So obviously they're going to have a little bit of pullback. Not too big of a deal. But, markets just kind of do this. Another reason for this precipitous price drop could just be the sale of about $40 million worth of Link tokens by the Chainlink developers themselves. It's not unlike the way Ripple will do it, but Ripple's a bit more transparent about it, I guess, than Chainlink was in this case. So I didn't even know they had done it until I read this article. So there's a couple different reasons why there could have been that sell-off. People just panicking. When you rise that high that fast, there's going to be some pullback. Link is still a fantastic coin, so don't go panicking just yet. Link will be back up at that level soon enough, I am sure. But that does it for Chainlink and article number 1. Let's hop on over here and talk about Kraken and Polkadot. I've talked about Polkadot, I think, once before on the channel, but it seems to be gearing up to be doing something big. So Kraken's listed them. They'll be enabling trading and staking services for Polkadot starting the 18th, so yesterday for all those of you listening. The addition comes shortly after the sharded multi-chain network raised over $40 million in its second private token sale. So they've had 2 token sales. They've raised a good amount of money. They look to be a decent chain. I've been keeping my eye on them. Haven't gone so far as to buy any just yet, because that would require me activating a lot of my older crypto accounts. I do have a Kraken account. I'm probably going to have to find it. It's been years since I've logged into it, probably. But yeah, so Polkadot and Kraken are partnering up, so that way Kraken can host it, but there's going to be some important changes. during Polkadot's first stakeholder vote, which anyone who owns DOT, which is the Polkadot token, the community decided to redenominate the coins. So basically, right now, you have one DOT. After August the 21st, when these changes go into effect, you will now have 100. And that'll split the price by 100. So if you had 5 DOT before, you now have 500 DOT. It's worth the same amount of money, but they're doing that. I believe DOT was like somewhere in the 300s. I think we'll talk about it down here in just a minute. But once it's listed on Kraken, which Kraken will automatically flip over all your DOT from old DOT to the new DOT that's been redenominated. But you'll not be able to withdraw the new DOT tokens from Kraken until everything is said and done. The popular exchange also asserted it will allow staking for DOT with a 12% annual fixed reward. Dang, that's nice. Paid twice a week, and users can start staking immediately with no waiting period. That's a hefty fixed reward. Good for them. The current market price for the old DOT token is up. Well, it's about $330. So as long as it's roughly that, the price of new DOT, once it's been split up by 100, be $3.30. So nothing too crazy there, but it's kind of cool that Kraken's going to be listing them and helping them through this. I think once they're past this August 21st mark and this process is done, we might see more and more exchanges starting to list Polkadot just because now the craziness seems to be out of the way. We'll see. It is really cool that was the very first stakeholder vote and that the community decided to do it. I really do like the voting mechanisms that are coming with these like third-gen cryptocurrencies. I'm really excited for what Cardano is going to be able to do once it's all the way up and running, and it's cool to see it already in play in some of these other cryptos. So good for Polkadot. Good for Kraken. Appreciate you supporting the guys like this. And let's hop on over to article number 3. Talk about old YFI. Oh yeah, YEARN Finance rallied to $12,800. Dear Lord. So it launched just a month ago, and I remember the creator of YFI said this token was quote unquote absolutely worthless. And it's now worth over $10,000. But it launched just a month ago, but since then the yield aggregating platform's total value locked has climbed to $611 million. Oy. In the last 3 days, the price of YFI climbed to $12,800, a nearly 330% rally since the price bottomed at $3,000 on August 13th. But the question we're asking here is why? So they launched YEARN Finance. So they announced this release. It's going to be a tokenized insurance platform called YEARN Finance. Through insured vaults and claim governance, it creates an insurance service on top of the DeFi protocol. Venture capitalists are actually really, really interested in insurance, and they're thinking it's going to become the next big category in the DeFi space. Can't escape it. I'm kind of interested to see it. This is the first I'm hearing about it, so I'm kind of going to have to Google DeFi insurance once we're done with all this and check it out a little bit more myself. I would check it out yourselves as well. It sounds almost like we're hearing about DeFi before everyone started talking about DeFi. Interesting. So Fred Ersham, co-founder of the crypto fund Paradigm, said on-chain insurance to cover protocols and DAOs have the potential to evolve into a large market. I mean, yeah, insurance companies do make a hefty profit, but they do that from having large amounts of users. I think that their margin, where they make their money, is less than 10%. But when you have 15 million people and you're making 10% per policy, it's not too bad. So industry executives, not just because of YEARN, they're also just excited about YFI in general. It took a hit when YAM, which we talked about on this channel, YAM is, I'm not sure how it's doing, an experimental DeFi protocol. It got hit with a bug and in fact completely collapsed. Since then, YFI has recovered rapidly, gaining popularity among prominent industry executives. And recently, BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes has been exploring various DeFi protocols like YAM and Based. Oh yeah, and he was just like, my MetaMask and I are busy this morning. YEARN, let's go YFI to the effing moon. You pretty excited. All right. So yeah, the total value locked in the entire DeFi ecosystem, I'm going to touch on this in a second actually, surpassed 6.4 billion on August the 17th based on the official metrics, and Maker, Aave, and Curve all surged past $1 billion in total value locked, which is pretty darn nice. YEARN continues to just explode. I'm not sure why anything's happening in this market right now. I'm just glad that it is, because it sounds like a lot of people out there are making money. Just make sure to sell and capture what profits you can. I'm not saying sell your whole stack, but if you invested $1,000 and it's now worth $10,000, maybe cash out your initial investment. Get yourself that $1,000 back in your pocket. You can invest it in a different crypto. In worst case scenario, even if the other stuff you hold crashes back, you've still 10x your money and you don't have anything set aside. All right, but hey, let's hop on over because I do want to touch on this article. It's something I've talked about before, but so the total USD value locked in DeFi protocols recently surpassed 6 billion, which we just talked about. However, recent research by Encode Club founder Demir Bandalo found that this figure is somewhat inflated. Instead of over 6 billion, Bandalo says about 3.5 billion is probably a better estimate of the real value that is locked in the top 15 DeFi protocols. We've talked about this before. It's really difficult to calculate exactly how much money is in DeFi, because a user can lock Ethereum in MakerDAO to create DAI, and then you can take that DAI and put it into another protocol, and then whatever you get from that you can then take and put into another protocol. So $1 can be tripled or quadrupled or quintupled up. So it's really hard to peel back all the layers of this metaphorical onion and figure out what the exact value is. So it's kind of why I've cautioned people out about DeFi. It's posting up these insane numbers, but the actual amount of people in the DeFi space who are using it, like super users who are really, leveraging back and forth, might actually only be in the tens of thousands right now. So a lot of what these DeFi platforms are doing is try to improve their user experiences to capture people like you and me who are a little bit more on the outside, who don't know exactly what we're doing, but would like to join up. But there's definitely still room for growth. It's likely that value locked figure is only going to just continue to explode. A lot of people are talking about DeFi like it's going to be the future of finance. This last article we talked about the future of insurance, possibly. But this is a young sector. It's still got major security issues to contend with, and it must do so while dealing with what seems to be a hyped up market, just kind of like how it was for the ICO hype back in 2017, 2018. This leads to poorly planned and rushed products like YEARN Finance, which was launched without an adequate adult. Oh man, who wrote this article? Antonio Madeira, getting it in there with YEARN Finance launched without an adult. I like it. Good on you, man. All right, well here, let's hop on over. We can just continue the DeFi theme. We got to talk about Ren. So Ren Bitcoin, the supply has increased 200% in 5 days. Ren BTC uses smart contracts to manage cross-chain conversions, and renBTC makes up more than 20% of all Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain. So this is placing renBTC firmly in second place as the favored method of porting Bitcoin to Ethereum behind wrapped Bitcoin. So Ren is the product of Ren Bitcoin. It's an open protocol designed to facilitate cross-chain liquidity. Unlike wrapped Bitcoin, which uses a system of trusted third-party custodians to mint new wrapped Bitcoin tokens, renBTC and other Ren-based assets are generated or destroyed using smart contracts. Bitcoin does not play nice with other chains. It's the grandpa. It's old. It's curmudgeon-y. It doesn't want the others on its lawn. But using wrapped Bitcoin, Ren Bitcoin, through third-party custodians, we'll hold it and we'll give you this WBTC, which you can then, use on Ethereum, but then you can exchange it back for Bitcoin at any time. Ren Bitcoin does kind of the same thing, only with smart contracts, so it lets you put that value on the Ethereum blockchain, so then if you have a lot of Bitcoin, you can use it to participate in DeFi. And that's kind of like how a lot of people think that Bitcoin's value is getting onto the platform, because Bitcoin will not talk to Ethereum, not well. So doing this enables that communication through an intermediary, either a third-party custodian or the smart contracts. So this Ren, they were founded in 2017, and Ren Bitcoin was released May of this year. And so the recent integration of Ren into my Ether wallet is probably going to be responsible for a lot of the interest. It's really interesting the way we're using technology to get, like, Bitcoin's probably not going to change too much. No one wants to alter the magic. Instead, we'll figure out ways to get that value over to you. Interesting way of doing it. I'm okay with it. You know, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and that's okay. It's the granddaddy of them all. It's what brings all of us here together. Like, I have massive respect for it. But innovation needs to happen, and so these altcoins innovating all these things, I think Ren Bitcoin is cool, and I'm really happy that they are doing this and that other parties are doing it, so that way, you know, Bitcoin holders can participate in the Ethereum network. But speaking of Ethereum, that was article number 5. Let's hop on over to article number 6 here and talk about what Vitalik's up to. So yeah, Vitalik opened up a little bit and acknowledged that he actually both sold and donated away his Ether holdings for fiat back when the price was 700. The first time it was 700 on the way up, not on the way down. While he's not really specifying, I'm pretty sure he didn't sell everything. But even Vitalik, you know, someone who's really, really, really heavily into the crypto space, you got to have cash on hand sometimes, at least until everyone finally starts taking Bitcoin and Ethereum and I can buy a house with it. For the moment, gotta wait. So he also gave advice to the Ethereum Foundation, and they sold a large portion of their holdings close to the asset's all-time high of $1,200. And on a previous podcast with Eric Weinstein, he actually specified that the foundation liquidated about 70,000 Ethereum at this price. So you can do that math if you'd like. 12,000 per at 70,000. That's pretty nuts. Well, the correlation is unclear. You know, the foundation's liquidation of its holdings could have precipitated the crash. I mean, the whole market itself, with the ICO bubble popping, you know, the 70,000 probably didn't help, but I doubt it's the huge thing. This is a fun little article that they just put out. I think it's kind of cool to know, like, yeah, I sold it. Here's what I sold it for. And he probably sold a large chunk of change. Like, he's doing very well for himself. I mean, he's created something incredibly insane that, you know, millions of people around the world are talking about and hundreds of thousands are using. So good on you, mate. And he continues to work hard. So he's obviously very passionate about this. So good on him. Good on the Ethereum Foundation. You got to have money to pay the bills, so they're going to do what they're going to do. But hey, let's hop on over. And then I like this one. This is another little think piece. It made me think, in the little headline pictures of a guy thinking and looking at a crypto coin. So, a critical mass of long-term Bitcoin holders seem to be making 100K inevitable. I agree. And I agree with the thought process behind this. So determining Bitcoin's value can be more complicated than simply looking at its current price. So most Bitcoins cost at least $100,000, and probably more like 10 million, said Michael Goldstein, known as Bitstein, in a recent tweet. And I agree with this thought process. So just listen to this. Well, Bitcoin sits around $12,000 at press time. Many folks in the crypto industry likely value the asset at a much higher price tag. If someone buys Bitcoin at $10,000 but is unwilling to sell it until the asset reaches $100,000, then the price tag of that Bitcoin is naturally much higher than the current market value. This then begs the question, how many Bitcoin are currently worth to the people who hold them, you know, $100,000? Like, let's say I have one whole Bitcoin. I don't. I mean, you know, I have multiple cryptocurrencies, so you combine all the cryptocurrencies into Bitcoin, I'd probably have a few of them, but I don't have a full Bitcoin. But yeah, no, the portion of Bitcoin I have, I don't want to sell it till it hits 100,000. Like if I'm hard up and I need the cash and the market's rallying and it's like 30 or 40K, I might, but I don't want to until it's 100,000. I think that gets at what he's saying. Like, people are just holding on to these coins and they're not going to sell them until they're at that price. And if there's enough people unwilling to sell until it hits that price and there's still enough people wanting to buy them, then eventually the market will hit 100,000 because no one's going to be selling until it gets to 100,000. And I think we've already crossed that threshold where this coin's not going anywhere. Many of Bitcoin's largest bag holders value the asset between $100,000 and $10 million. Like, I don't see that changing in people's heads. So if that's what you value it as, and that's what you're not going to sell it until it hits that point, well then, there you go. I think that answers the question right there. It's going to eventually get there. The question is not if, but when. And when can it be, the end of this year? I mean, it's entirely possible, but I do like this article. It's not long, but it made me think about it. 64% of Bitcoin's circulating supply has remained in the same wallet since 2018, which, I think only goes to that argument. Like, I'm not moving my Bitcoin. Like, I'm not touching it. It is sitting safely in a wallet with a crazy long recovery phrase, cold storage, until it hits that point where I'm ready to sell it. And I think that's the same for a lot of people to varying levels of security. So I do agree with him. I think that is where we're at and where we're headed because of that. So let's hop over. So Ethereum, for those of you who don't know, Ethereum launched their Medallia testnet. It encountered its first difficulties. Theoretically, it's supposed to be a multi-client testnet to be launched before phase 0 of Ethereum 2.0. A bug in the synchronization of the nodes is currently raising concerns in the community. It was reported on August 14th by Terrence Zhao, a member of the Prismatics Lab team. All Prism clients were affected from 5:30 p.m. to 6:45 p.m., so about an hour and 15 minutes. On August the 14th, Prismatics Lab's co-founder Preston Van Loon reported that the number of people on the testnet who were successfully validating blocks dropped from 75% to 5. So a lot went wrong with how it synchronized up with the rest of the test network. So the rapid reaction that the Prismatic team did, they launched like this Alpha 0.22 recovery update, and they just kept going. They had it up within 2 days. People have criticized this, that if the release of phase 0 is going to be pushed back because of this. Did they do something wrong? Me personally, I'm not worried about this. I don't think you should be either. This is what a testnet is for, to make sure that this happens in a controlled environment so it doesn't happen in the real world. So there we go. They almost had the worst case scenario. Not only did they manage to stop it before it got bad, they were able to patch it, and it's back to being stable, and they continue to test it. Maybe extend the testnet a few extra days if possible, so that way you make sure you don't catch anything else. But all in all, pretty good for them. Not a problem. All right, but here, let's hop on over. We're getting close to the end. Binance. So the leading cryptocurrency exchange Binance just assisted the Ukrainian authorities to arrest a cybercrime organization that has allegedly stole and laundered $42 million from various ransomware attacks across the world. Last year, the exchange launched a new initiative dubbed Bulletproof Exchanger, which is aiming to identify and track hubs of malicious activity involving cryptocurrencies or companies within the ecosystem. Upon discovering such activities, Binance partners with authorities to help take them down. And although the report hasn't disclosed the group's name, it reads that all involved suspects are Ukrainian citizens, arrested in June of 2020 after being active for more than 2 years. So we're finally just hearing about this now. Pretty happy with that. This is exactly what you want. It's never going to stop. There's always going to be crime. Cybercrime is growing. Crypto cybercrime is exploding as the industry explodes. But having Binance and hopefully some other exchanges maybe getting in on the game to help actively police instead of just banning accounts. Congratulations, you banned 15 accounts. Well, they already beat KYC protocols once. Give them a month, they'll have it beat again. So by doing this, it helps squash them out and maybe keep a few more people from going all in on that, knowing that it probably ends with them in jail. Yeah, but good on Binance. Well, hey, popping over down here, round things out, Article 10. Former Goldman Sachs hedge fund manager Raul Paul says Bitcoin is seriously undervalued. The CEO of Real Vision and global macro investor who predicted the 2008 financial crisis. A lot of people said they are saying they did that. Meh. But he's making a long-term bet on the crypto. He says Bitcoin's recent breakout from a symmetrical triangle dating back to late 2017 is just the beginning. And he thinks there's going to be a lot more institutional investors getting involved, more than there already have been. Honestly, I'm very surprised the price just hasn't already exploded due to the amount that we're hearing of people putting in. Although he's very bullish on Bitcoin, Powell says he's also betting on Ethereum. I think it's going to outperform Bitcoin in the near term, but that Bitcoin will eventually surpass it. He's saying it has the potential to surpass 1 million in the next 3 to 5 years, calling Bitcoin the biggest trade of our lives. I mean, I hope it does. Dear Lord. And what that will do to the rest of the crypto market, if Bitcoin's 1 million, what does that make Ethereum? What does that make Cardano? What does that make Polkadot? What does that make YEARN? What does that make Chainlink? Like, what does that make all those things if Bitcoin's $1 million? Like, the prospects of this are just mind-boggling. But hey, that was 10 of the trending articles in the crypto news space. If you've made it all this way, why not hit that subscribe button? I mean, it's pretty easy to do. And you get to hear my sultry tones almost every day. I do want to take time to announce I'm probably going to be making a few changes to how I do things. I'm still in the early planning stages. The first couple months I was doing this, I was just doing these daily update videos, 10 every day, 5 on the weekends, or if I was having a rough time, and all those things. I'm thinking that I'm going to start looking into just doing these videos Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday drop in something like 10 things you need to know about X coin, or top 10 things to know about this or that. Kind of changing things up, something I can work on in my spare time during the week. Post up for you guys on Saturday, so that way I can kind of have these weekends a little bit more with the family. I've mentioned it before, but got a very pregnant wife, baby number 1 on the way, so I'm not going to be able to keep up this breakneck pace for forever, not with a newborn and a full-time job that I work 10-hour days at. It's just a lot. But yeah, so enough of me waxing and waning about my life. Let's close things out. Thank you if you've subscribed at this point. Check out the links down in the descriptions. That way you can learn more about what's going on. Top 10 coins by market cap. There's a bit of a slump going on right now at the time that I'm recording this. Every coin in the top 10 is down. EOS is down 5%. Cardano, Bitcoin SV are both down 3%. Litecoin's down 2%. Bitcoin Cash is down 4%. Chainlink is still down 6%, sitting about $16. XRP's down 4%. Ethereum's down 1%. Bitcoin is down 2%. But all in all, everything is holding at their support levels, in my opinion, pretty well. Bitcoin is just over 12,000. Ethereum's still in the 420s. XRP's still holding at 30. Chainlink's still $16. Cardano's, still in the high 13-cent range. Nothing too crazy, and it just looks like the whole market is in a slump. Like, I am scrolling down this list trying to find something good and positive, and it is Monero, 0.7%. Like, literally the first non-stable coin up is Monero at number 16. Next is Aave, is up 1%, down at number 27. So it's pretty rough evening here for cryptos, but that's about it. So hey, thanks for listening. I will hopefully be back again to talk to y'all tomorrow. Thanks, peace, and stay safe out there. It's a scary world.